Hello and welcome to Dude Check This Out, featuring two hosts, probably pretty consistently. I am Paralerx, and with me is the Pig Video Games. Say hello, Pig.
Hello, it's me, Pig Video Games.
It's him. This is episode one of our new podcast, which means we're going to look back on this in several months and cringe at how bad this went.
I think it won't be that bad.
It might not be that bad, but to introduce what the podcast is, uh, we're basically making content out of things we do anyway, which is recommending each other pieces of media to go through. The way this will work is every month, one of us will have a big recommendation that the other is required to get through before the next recording. We had a bit more time than that this time because the topic of episode 1 is Kingdom Hearts 1, originally for the PlayStation 2, now on PC and all that jazz. If you'd like to see more of the experience and the thoughts and details of that whole thing, Pig's entire Let's Play is up on his YouTube channel, which also featured me. So you can, if you want to hear us talk more about Kingdom Hearts than however long this podcast lasts, go check that out.
Yes. I played specifically the final mix version, which added a couple of things, a handful of cutscenes, other things, and life amenities as well.
Yeah, worse colors for all the Heartless. It's I'll never forgive how much worse guard armor and the fat body look. I showed you that, right?
Yeah,
The
you did. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, and you're right. You're right. The new colors are unfortunately inferior.
yeah, man, the purple looked so good. But anyway, uh, so that is the gist of this podcast. We at the end of this episode, Pig will have a recommendation for me to get through. Not everything will be something we let's play. It could be on our own time. We might not always experience it together. It might just be a hey, you get through this and on your own time for the next month.
It can be a game, a movie, a show.
It might be an outgoing experience. We don't know, but games and shows and whatnot, just media, is a comfortable place to start. Now, to start off the Kingdom Hearts episode, we should probably talk about. Most people will at least know of what a Kingdom Hearts game is, but I think we should inform people just in case they're not familiar with the OG. Pig, can you give me a summary of the Kingdom Hearts 1 final mix?
Kingdom Hearts One Final Mix is Square Enix's first action RPG.
Yeah. From 2001 or 2, I believe it released.
Yeah, and instead of going for some instead of making like a Final Fantasy or going for some more conventional JRPG in terms of its setting and all that, they did a collaboration with Disney. And so you,
Yeah,
as the protagonist, Sora, explore Disney worlds alongside Goofy and Donald.
of Disney fame
Of
and the Navy.
Disney fame and the Navy and Goof Troop fame. Goofy
Goof.
movie.
Yeah, they largely explore Disney movie themed worlds, but there are about 4 original worlds made for the setting specifically, dotted with some classic Final Fantasy faces you'll recognize throughout.
Yeah, some from seven, some from I believe it was nine,
8.
eight.
We uh, we do get some 9 representation in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, but basically the rule is a character can show up if they're from a game that Tetsuya Nomura worked on. Kingdom Hearts being Tetsuya Nomura's brainchild, essentially.
And what a
The initial
brainchild it is.
Oh man, it goes places. Kingdom Hearts has a rep. I'm
Reputation.
really good at words right now for this podcast, which comprised of nothing but words. I'm really good at that. Kingdom Hearts has a reputation as a franchise for being incredibly convoluted and hard to understand and comprehend, which is not actually true. And Pig has only gone through the one game so far.
Yeah, in terms of
But
just this game, I comprehend it pretty well.
yeah, I pointed out a couple things here and there that he might not have immediately noticed because it is an umpteenth retread of the material for me. But the overall story, if you play in release order, like all the long term fans did because we just got them on release, it's perfectly comprehensible. The reason it seems to make no sense to a lot of people is because Nomura's a big fan of retcons and also just very shonen anime, shut up, the power of friendship will make it work kind of storytelling.
That, and I think a lot of people who aren't in like experience it through like out of context clips.
Yeah, but
It's
that is one of my favorite things to introduce to people. Just, hey, look at this weird thing. What do you mean he's half Xehanort?
it's very similar to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in that way.
Yes, or Baki the Grappler.
Mm-hmm.
But the out of context does make it fun, and I enjoy some wacky stupid. I think the first few games in the franchise, they hit like the peak combination of take this seriously and this is so dumb. Uh, so Pig, that's the general premise of the game and franchise. How about you tell us about your experience with it? It's your first time through Kingdom Hearts 1. What did you think of it? What were the rough spots? What are the highlights that you really enjoyed? Just go off for us, buddy.
So, my initial like before I ever played the game, I only heard about Kingdom Hearts through you and a handful of other people.
Yeah.
Like you praise the series like to no end. It's your favorite series, I believe, or up there for
I
you.
wouldn't say the IP is my favorite franchise, but Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is my favorite video game of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I am about as big a Kingdom Hearts nerd as you've met or likely ever will meet,
Mm-hmm.
to be perfectly real about it. Uh, it I've been known to go on a rant or two, but I'm one of those fans that says there's a lot of quality to find after 2. The series should have stopped after 2 though.
Hmm. Would that be controversial to say?
For certain people, it might be a little bit of a hot take, and those people are wrong because my opinions are the correct opinions objectively. See, I have a microphone in front of my face, and they are merely the listener. That gives me more power than them, so I can say that.
So,
Uh,
yeah, before playing it, I was just I would look at Kingdom Hearts and be like, oh, that's weird. Why is Mickey there? Why are all why are all these Disney characters hanging out with this a Final Fantasy looking character?
yeah. Why did Mickey not have a shirt in that shot? That was weird.
Why didn't he? Apparently, that's gonna be explained.
Yeah, it's so weird how far out of their way they go to explain why Mickey wears a shirt in most of the games, but didn't have a shirt in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Anyway, I've been a fan of the song "Simple and Clean" even before like interacting with the games because it's a fantastic song. It's
Oh, it's
wonderful.
a banger. Like most versions of the song are a banger, and it's been remixed so many times now.
So I we start up the game. The opening movie plays, and I am immediately sold on it.
Yeah, it is the most. I'm 13 and this is so fucking deep. You have no idea. Well, seeing himself in the sky, but then he tripped back. No, wait, he's falling now. It's him, but she's still there. Oh my god, it's a great tone setter.
It really is.
I'd argue all of Destiny Islands is a great tone setter because it's low stakes until the whole place falls to darkness, but it definitely sets a strong tone of this is a game about like the relationship between these characters and how it'll survive after they're separated, and the very well established like rivalry, but there's some legitimate jealousy going on underneath the friendship that's established with our main characters, Sora, Riku, and Kairi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh,
So
going through the game, it was mostly a excellent experience.
good.
Uh,
I'm
uh,
I'm I'm glad you enjoyed it. A lot of people complain about some roughness and early PS2 jank of the first game.
yeah, there's that, but like it's not enough to like filter me or like make me dislike it at all.
Right.
Like
So
that's to be expected with older games. Like I
yeah.
have experience with jank of even older games.
Oh yeah, there's some rough ones you can go back to, but for a as early in the PS2 as that game was, and especially for a company's first major attempt at real-time action combat in video games, because I don't think they had any real-time action in their games before that. They kind of because they made the real-time like limit meter turn taking stuff in 7 and whatnot, but it was still inherently a turn-based game. They the real only similarities to those systems is you have an action menu that you flip through on the D-pad in the game.
Mm-hmm. And
But
flipping through the menu in this game, like going to your magic or your items, was not as awkward as I thought it'd be. There wasn't like I felt comfortable managing the menu mid combat.
yeah, because you'd think, oh, I have to take my thumb off the stick. I can't do it while I move, but you can still totally be comboing while you move. Uh, like you can be like doing an air combo and then flipping down to items so that you can pop a potion as soon as the combo ends or something like that.
Yeah, the combat is never so overwhelming, except maybe for like certain boss fights.
Oh
Where
yeah, there are some that keep you on your guard and some that feel a little like bullshit.
mm-hmm.
I would argue, and tell me if you agree or disagree here. I would argue that boss fights are probably one of the biggest weaknesses of this game because a lot of them are either kind of nothing, just set pieces, or they're very awkwardly designed because they didn't know how to make like a big bad boss like feel good to play against.
Yeah, like. Uh, I'm going through the bosses in my head. That first boss, Tentacle Face. He's all right.
Uh,
Dark Side of
Yeah,
him.
Darkseid's great, and his constant reuse at the beginning and end is like I don't blame them for that. He's one of the most solid bosses.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, he's straightforward. You know where and when you can hit him.
Yeah.
Straightforward, simple, great.
The main plot bosses I'd say are the highlights, and I mean like the outside the Disney World stuff. Because Darkseid's good. Any like original Heartless designs are pretty good. Like even guard armor like isn't bad at all.
That's the
Um,
one with the where we have to target the arms, legs, and chest and head and all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I like the mix up when you fight him again in the Coliseum.
Yeah, and the arms and legs switch, and it turns upside down, and all of that. He's great.
Yeah, that's a really good boss that lends itself well to reuse.
Yeah, so the things like that happen on the original worlds that aren't part of Disney properties, I'd say are the strongest because you think of those early bosses, you think of Riku, you think of the various Ansem fights, those are all great. And then you think of the rest, and you go,
Yeah,
the Chameleon Clayton combo was really rough. It starts you off getting hit with the camera facing the wrong way.
yeah,
The jumping around is awkward.
yeah. For that boss in particular, you start off the camera's facing the wrong way. Clayton's gonna get a free shot on you unless you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And other than
And at that
that,
point,
it's
you,
it's a panicky struggle against that boss.
yeah, and especially like your defensive options are pretty limited because they are very slow to give you guard and dodge roll.
Yeah. I think once you get those, the gameplay improves significantly. I would have to like go back and play without them to see how I feel about that because
Well,
it might.
with guard, you basically did for 80% of the game because you kept forgetting you had it for how long you didn't get it.
Yeah. Because Because to guard, you have to press the dodge button and not moving. But I was always moving.
Yeah, it's an odd thing, which they slowly got better over the franchise. Where one of my praises of 3 is that they just give you some of the essentials off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, finally, quality of life. Thank you.
Uh, Still on the topic of bosses, and a bad boss in particular, I think Oogie Boogie is the worst boss in the game.
Ooh, strong take. Because like, if he didn't heal as much, and if it like you didn't have as many blunders in the first version of Oogie Boogie, it might not have been so bad. But then you beat that, and it's like, no, the fight goes on. Fight his house.
Like the first phase is essentially a very gussied up what do they call it? Where you have to like wait.
Yeah. I'm not sure if the waiting part has a real term. It's supposed to be like a sort of puzzle boss because you're supposed to be like keeping track of which segment of his pinwheel you're supposed to stand in and hit the button on. But it's very easy for your teammates that are AI to miss out on it and for you to get juked because you would try to press the button like right as he got into a segment, but then he would turn around and you're just stuck there for 20 seconds accomplishing nothing while he laughs at you.
Yeah, and when you do get to hit him, I wasn't sure if you could only deal a set amount of damage before he resets.
It seemed that way.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for late game though, shoutouts to Tinkerbell, the clutch boss savior.
Oh my god, yeah. We'll get into that later. And
Yeah,
the second phase of Oogie Boogie, where you're fighting his house version, it's platforming.
yeah, it's platforming. It's dealing with ads around you as well, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and just hitting a stationary target. It's like when you have a mission in like a game like Dark Tide or Space Marine 2 or something where it says, "All right, now you have to shoot the blots of goo off of the equipment so it'll work again." It's a big fancy version of that, but you're platforming around a house that looks like Oogie Boogie.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the other Disney bosses, they're okay. The one in Wonderland, I didn't particularly like. You fight that one
Yeah,
you fight that one early and without any like defensive options. Like that
and
boss wouldn't
he's
be as bad if you had like your dodge roll, your block.
I'd argue he wouldn't be as bad if you had high jump. But because his hitbox is so high up that you can only get maybe like 1 or 2 hits instead of your full 3-piece combo, just jumping up at him, and even then it's easy to miss that. So
Yeah,
you feel like you have to stay around the chair and table the whole time,
yeah,
and like he has too much health to be that awkward to fight. A lot of bosses wound up feeling like they were too big of damage sponges to be fun because you just hit a point of, is it over yet? We still doing this? All
uh,
right.
that's probably most true with Ursula and the big demon. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Trinabog.
Yeah. I think it's Trinabog.
Yeah. Although I did like fighting Trinabog, he did have just too much health for like once you're like 60% through his full health bar, you're like let's get this over with. Come on. I
Yeah.
like the spectacle, but we got things to do here.
Yeah. We gotta wrap this up. Uh, while we're on weaknesses, I'm going to also say that the camera, because when you're fighting a big heartless or you're in a cramped room, that camera is a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
A problem to be solved later in the series. Don't you worry though.
It's
It's
not the worst camera I've seen or an experience, but it's up there for a pretty bad camera.
Yeah, the HD like Final Mix re-releases did help because if I'm remembering correctly on the PS2, the camera wasn't the stick. It was L1R1 or L2R2. Like you would
Ah,
rotate it.
yeah, that was early in like the twin stick era of 3D
Yeah.
games. Like, how do we move the camera? Put it on the shoulder buttons. What do we do with this other stick? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? We'll figure it out.
So
But
yeah, I could have had a worse experience had I played on the PS2.
yeah, all right. Uh, Sticking on gameplay, but not being too negative. Do you have a favorite world? Because there's a lot of worlds in this game, and I don't mean like for story. I mean strictly for just being there, going through the world, the movement through it, the aesthetic, just the feel of it. Do you have a world that you like the best?
Hmm. I really like the aesthetic of Halloween Town.
That's what I was thinking because aside from some awkwardness in navigation, it's one of my favorite worlds in the game.
Um, After you beat the chameleon boss in Tarzan World, I really like the area you go to afterwards, like behind the waterfall. That's a really nice
Yeah.
area.
It's really cool. It almost makes me kind of sad that it is just the end of that world that you never have to go back to because it's one of the nicer looking areas and like it just has like a refreshing bit of not frustrating platforming to it, of a bit of variety in the aesthetic compared to the rest of that world, and it's just nice.
And I actually really liked. I think I even said this in the during the playthrough. I really like the Wonderland world.
Yeah, it has its charm. A lot of people aren't huge fans of it, but I think it has some really clever asset reuse and setup, and I love that there's rooms in it that are literally just not even a background that's trying to pretend a skybox is a real environment. It's just painted walls.
Yeah, yeah. If you're a fan of the Alice in Wonderland book and like that setting, Wonderland in Kingdom Hearts is right up your alley.
I don't know. It has its own frustration, but yeah, it's charming. I
It
like it more than a
it,
lot of
it, it
people.
it makes you feel like you're in Wonderland.
It really makes you feel like you're a child on drugs for the first time.
um, the the final world, that big castle.
That's not the final world.
Well, the second to last, the big castle.
Yeah, Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, Hollow
What you're
Bastion.
looking for.
That's also a really good world. I really enjoyed traversing through it and just going through the whole level. And I think that's just my favorite part of the game. Both for
Just Hollow Bastion in general.
yeah, for its aesthetic, the story events that happen, and the boss fights that occur there.
Yeah, it's really strong because you don't get to fight like Ansem proper until you get to End of the World, but you do get Ansem possessed Riku after fighting just Riku being edgy.
Mm-hmm.
You get two Riku fights there, and they're both pretty cool. Because the first one feels more like the upgrade from when you spar with him on Destiny Islands, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, no, no. We're not holding back. We're going at it for real, and we both have our weird anime powers now. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
the first one was Witcher Party. The second one when he's possessed by Ansem. That's a 1v1.
that is the 1v1, and that's, I would say, probably the biggest jump in difficulty in the whole game.
Yes, yes, I believe so.
Everything else is relatively like you can coast through it if you're pretty decent at action games. It's not going to throw anything at you that you can't handle. It's just going to ask you to do some weird stuff because they were experimenting on their first foray into the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Uh like the easiest way to beat Ursula's first phase, like the first boss fight with Ursula, is spam magic at her cauldron, which why would you think to do that your first time through?
I
That
don't.
feels like almost designed to make you buy a game guide or something.
Yeah, I don't think the game tells you what to do there.
No,
I think you
I
have to
looked
tell me.
that
I
up
think.
when our friend Raven was going through it just to like make sure I knew because I knew this was a gimmick fight. I looked it up to remind myself. And yeah, if you spam magic at her cauldron, eventually it'll have a little pop and you'll hear Ursula yell, and then she's just sitting there free to combo.
Yeah,
and that's the main way to do it. Apparently,
I forgot about that segment of the boss fight. I was just thinking of the big Ursula fight, the second phase.
yeah, it's more of a standout, honestly, but that's entirely for set piece reasons, not for being good reasons.
Yeah, yeah. Like first phase Ursula, a bad gimmick, not as bad as Oogie Boogie.
Not as bad as Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie is setting the bar for being awkward and not that fun to fight.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I
Well,
back to a Hollow Bastion. I think that also had
yeah.
introduced some of my favorite enemy designs in the game.
Yeah, they got some good ones. You had like those Dragon Heartless and the big shield guys.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love them.
you also fight uh evil Disney Illuminati lady.
Maleficent.
Maleficent. Yeah, you fight Maleficent. You fight Maleficent. You fight her dragon form. It's all great stuff.
It's really good. Uh, half that boss fight is just knocking down her fucking platform.
Mm-hmm. And the level does a good job of introducing you to a way to knock her down easy with the gravity spell.
Yeah, like it's hard to say how intentional that was, or if it's like one level designer was going, I hope they pick up on this. Because gravity is a relatively high damaging spell that can also lock down an enemy for a minute if it's, not a boss, but like the more common enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it
It
does a pretty good amount of damage, which, if you're at an appropriate level for the Maleficent boss fight, it will knock down the platform that she rides around on in one hit, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Throughout the level, there's a couple of chests that are floating. You use a gravity spell to bring them down, and all that's
Yeah.
to train you to use gravity on Maleficent's platform to bring it down. I don't even know. I don't even think it's even like a damage thing. I think it's just gravity. Of course it would work.
Yeah, that it put the idea in your head, and then just the way the mechanics happen to work rewards you for it because it gave you the intended result.
That is a certified a Bloodborne man who breaks box
Oh,
game design.
your your reference, he's referencing very specific lore of our friend group. For context, audience at home, I'm a big game design nerd and amateur game designer, trying to get back into it. Uh, and my favorite enemy in Bloodborne is a little invisible tutorial moment that you would never think is anything important at all. And I see this guy that's in the first like 10 minutes of Bloodborne that you wipe out in 2 seconds and never think about again. I look at him and go, yo, that dude's so sick because he teaches you like 6 fundamental lessons about how the world design and gameplay work, but he does it like so fluidly and naturally that you don't think about it while you're learning. But yeah, I love pointing out game design things like that. It's one of my favorite things.
Eventually,
Uh,
we'll go more into detail on that.
yeah. Uh, so, having talked about like some of the story stuff as well, we've got some favorite worlds. We've chatted some about gameplay. Let's talk a little bit about the setting and story.
Mm-hmm.
So we start off on game original created worlds, Destiny Islands and Traverse Town. Right?
Yeah.
These are both like tutorial and tone setter worlds that give you a sense of the characters and what you're going to be doing for the rest of the game.
Your hometown and the big city.
Yes, very much so. You get a fair amount of cutscenes filling you in on where different characters are coming from and what's going on. And you also get set up for some plot twists later. You meet early on having a brief interaction with a guy in a burlap sack looking robe that you can't see any details about what he looks like. It's just shadow in a robe. He
I
says some mysterious words at you and then leaves. Did you have a thing there, Pig?
I don't believe we actually learn who that is.
No, we do.
Was that
Yeah, I will
Ansem?
remind you, friend. That was Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. He
Okay,
came
okay.
to see the door to the world before it fell.
Right. Yeah, that was Ansem.
Yes, he mocks Sora for being as ignorant as he is, being an ignorant homegrown island boy. And then he just disappears, and Sora goes, "Huh?" And then just kind of forgets about him, and you, the audience, probably also forget about him because over the next 30 hours, nothing about that is brought up again.
Mm-hmm.
You see the Heartless show up. Riku is mysteriously being a little edgier than usual and disappears in a portal of darkness, and you get the iconic weapon, the Keyblade. You find Kairi, the other childhood friend, who you spend the whole game trying to find so that you can all go home together. She disappears before your very eyes as well, before your hometown falls. I think it's a pretty strong opening. It also sets us up for, well, we can't go home yet. We gotta go on the mission and fix some things.
We need to find our friends.
Yeah. The second world is essentially like introducing Final Fantasy characters and the main plot and getting you used to fighting the main enemies, the Heartless. We're not going to go into as much detail here because limited time for a podcast. But after that, there's a distinct shift. Kingdom Hearts is known for having a bit of a disconnect between what we'll call the main plot and the Disney shenanigans. Now, it's not that the Disney shenanigans are pointless in the story. It's literally the story of these characters, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, traveling to find the people that they're looking for, namely Kairi, Riku, and King Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is a real reason for Sora and the gang to be going through them, but they often, with a couple exceptions here and there, feel entirely disconnected from the main plot. So I was wondering, Pig, do you feel that there's a difference in like quality or importance here, or do you think that it all blends pretty naturally between the two things,
Uh,
and you know, like makes one smooth experience?
one thing I was gonna say, I disagree with that statement that they feel disconnected.
Yeah, that is also a bit of like franchise bias for me because it's less well done later, I feel. But yeah, in Kingdom Hearts 1, I will admit it's done as well as it's gonna be done. Because one thing I didn't mention, because I talked about Ansem Seeker of Darkness being at the beginning and then towards the end of the game. Other than that beginning cutscene, you spend most of the game being told, like the camera is telling you, Maleficent is endgame shit. This is your big boss. So
You're
the
in.
fact that you don't know that there's anything past Maleficent does make it feel like she is what you're heading towards. So Disney stuff can easily feel like main plot. It,
You're going through these worlds because you need to. Cause for one, the Disney villain Illuminati is in there, causing some shit.
yeah,
And you gotta
scheming and
go.
plotting.
You gotta go in there, save save the princess, or at least try to save the princess, and lock the
You don't
world
even know
down
she's
to
a
protect it.
princess.
You don't even know she's a princess. You gotta lock that world down so that it's safe from darkness.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, the fact that it is a hidden plot twist that the main force of evil is actually beyond Maleficent, yeah, that probably does like kind of make it one big smooth experience. So I got to give you that one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do you feel that there's a difference in like quality of content between the Disney stuff and the original stuff?
Um. In terms of some gameplay and some just gameplay mechanic stuff, yes, the original stuff is better. But in terms of just like the narrative through line of the whole game, it all flows really well, and I don't feel a difference in quality between the two.
All right, well that's good.
It's
I'm
it's
glad it wound up like that.
it'd be hard to separate one from the other for this game.
All right. Now, I do have some other materials brought up that you're going to experience for the first time, Pig. But before that, let's be real. This is a thinly veiled excuse to gush about cool shit that we enjoy this podcast.
Yeah.
So let, let's gush a little bit about things we thought were cool.
Okay.
Because I got a couple moments in mind that I think are peak.
Okay.
But you go first.
Me go first. Okay. The opening
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
The opening movie is fantastic.
Techno remix, simple and clean, goes so hard. Oh, like
meeting
90s 2000s Square FMVs, man. They hold up.
meeting Cloud for the first time in the Coliseum.
Oh yeah, the best Cloud design. He will never look that good again.
By the way, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is in this game.
Yes, and so is Sephiroth.
Yeah,
with
but you
even edgier designs than they had in their own games.
Yeah, what's up with that? Where are these designs? Where are they?
They're just so good.
Bring them back.
Oh man, they're locked in the vaults, dude.
They're locked
I think
in the
you can
Disney
buy a
vault.
figure of Cloud in the Kingdom Hearts 1 design, but it's stupid pricey.
It would be. It would be.
It's like a 130 or some shit like that.
That is not as much as I thought.
We should look that up sometime. But another thing I think is peak is just after the second Riku fight of Hollow Bastion. Right? You get that all the big plot reveals. You get Kairi isn't the 7th Princess of Heart. You get Kairi's heart was inside your heart all along. And you get Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. You've been told Ansem it was the wise man who you need the help of and all his knowledge to defeat this darkness. No. You meet Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and he's possessed your friend Riku, and he was behind the Heartless Uprising all along.
Yeah, we didn't even go talk about that. Before you meet Ansem, the villain, you hear about Ansem and he was this great wise guy. You read some of his reports where he's researching the darkness and all that. So imagine my shock and seeing that he is the villain of this game.
Yeah.
Everything you thought you knew about this character that you didn't even think you were gonna meet, it just turned flipped on its head.
You thought he was like backstory stuff or like some old guy with a beard or goatee that you would like talk to for 2 scenes at the end. That was really great. And also, just that moment immediately after where
Sora gets
where he drops the Keyblade of Hearts that he made out of the 6 princess hearts. And Sora's like, well, her heart's inside mine, and that one unlocks hearts. Gives the biggest, fakest smile to try and make Donald and Goofy feel a little bit better about what's about to happen. And just ends it all for Kairi.
This is a protagonist willing to kill himself for the sake of his friends.
Based?
And then you play as Heartless Sora.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Awkward little run animation. It's great.
You gotta go through the whole castle in reverse as a Heartless.
Yeah, just without the combat though, because you're on their side now, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And Kairi recognizing you immediately is great.
She was in your heart for so long. There's no way she couldn't recognize you.
Yeah.
Even in your heartless form.
It's very sweet. There's some very cheesy, like, my friends are my power bullshit, like, storytelling. But it's done so earnestly and with, like, some really good execution in moments. To the point where you're like, I don't care how corny it is. That's good.
You know, I like me some corn. I like me some cheese.
Hell yeah. And as a game design nerd, I also have to bring back what I always refer to as one of my favorite, just like, flex those director muscles Nomura moves, which is the start of Hollow Bastion, Riku taking away your Keyblade because it was destined for him from the start. And it's not just settled purely in cutscenes. You have to just play through an end game like level with end game level enemies in it for like a good 10-15 minutes, depending on how quickly you figure out like the area and puzzles. Without a weapon, you do no melee damage. You retain your ability to do magic, but you only have so many spells. Your main mode of getting around the Heartless is either running like a coward or letting Beast, who you just met there, do the fighting for you.
Yeah, a shout out to Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
He's great.
A bit of side tangents. To navigate between worlds, you gotta take a spaceship and travel through this like negative space thing. Beast
the warp.
didn't. Yeah, the warp from 40K. Beast didn't need that. He says he believed either he said he believed or he just thought about it, but somehow, some way.
Yeah, he just felt the strongest urge in his heart was to find Belle and save her and make sure she's okay. And he believed he would accomplish that. So when his world fell to darkness, his heart just got him there. He's just built different, man.
No spaceship, no nothing. He's him.
He is him.
I think that alone just makes him the best Disney party member.
He's probably my favorite Disney companion in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I call this one of my favorite director moments for narrative reasons that I pointed out to you in the playthrough and will reiterate again here. On Destiny Islands, when it's falling to darkness and getting swallowed up and all that, it's invaded by Heartless, and before you get the Keyblade, you have the chance to swing on the Heartless with your little wooden sword that Sora would play with. It doesn't do a thing. You're not even hitting the hitboxes. Like, you just can't fight them until you have the Keyblade. Then you spend like 25 to 30 hours like just doing your hero's journey and slaying hundreds upon hundreds of Heartless, forgetting how powerless you were at the start. And then Nomura takes it away just to remind you how powerless you were. It's a really strong callback with gameplay elements and not just showing you something in a cutscene, which I always applaud. But it also very much sticks to the themes of the game, because when he gets it back, it's because he feels more empowered, that his friends didn't abandon him, because Donald and Goofy come right back because they see their buddy having a rough time and Riku not being a good guy about it. Like, nah, we gotta stand by our boy. And that, like, just amps up Sora, and the friendship is making his heart real big and strong, and he gets it back. And he proclaims, "My friends are my power." And, like, yeah, it's a little too direct, just flat out saying what the theme and message is right there. But then you think of what you just did. The entire time you were, like, puzzling your way into the castle, you had to rely on Beast, who was there beside you the whole time. Literally, your friend there was your power. Like, it's very strong like that. I remember you, like, when I pointed that out, you had a hype moment at the realization of, oh! I'll always applaud that.
There's one more hype moment, but before I get to it, a different, technically hype moment was the entire 100-Acre Woods.
Oh yeah, it makes my heart smile just having these sweet little adventures with Pooh Bear finding his friends. And then concluding just saying, "I gotta go find my friends now. We found yours." But you got so close that Sora even gets on the cover of the book.
that cover goes so hard.
It's great. I want to be on the cover of a Winnie the Pooh book, damn it. Like, holding his hand while we walk along a trail.
The 100-Acre Woods world gave me so many good feelings and good memories of watching the VHSs back then.
Yeah. The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber, and their bottoms are made out of springs. Right. Did you have any
Yeah,
hype to spiel about?
the final hype, the biggest hype of the entire game. I audibly
Oh,
screamed when this happened.
yeah.
At the very end of the game, after you defeat super
Oh,
boat Ansem,
I know where you're going with this.
you need to close the door to darkness,
Yeah.
but it needs to be closed from both sides. And who's there on the
Oh.
other side to close it to help you close it?
Oh, why it's Riku, of course. He's your buddy.
But there's someone else.
Someone else reveals himself in that moment.
It's Mickey Mouse.
It Michael James Mouse in the flesh.
I cannot believe that I was so hyped for Mickey goddamn Mouse.
Yeah, because like you knew he was a character in the series, but you go through the whole game with him being like an ambiguous background thing for you to chase.
Yeah,
Uh,
Donald and Goofy, their goal is we gotta find King Mickey. He left. And he told us to find the Keyblade holder to find him.
yeah. But the fact that he just shows up to say, hey, let's close this door. I have the Keyblade of the Dark Realm. Let's do it.
It's a bit odd that he's like in his like normal default outfit, the red pants with the golden buttons, and not in like
Yeah,
a
they didn't make a Kingdom Hearts style outfit for him. They just put him in as he is typically portrayed. But then later on, he'd appeared so often in fully clothed Nomura looking outfits that it retroactively became weird that he was just there without a shirt on.
so they had to make
So
up
they
a
felt the
reason.
need they felt the need to make context for it in a small game thing that's essentially a demo for Kingdom Hearts 3.
It wasn't explained until then.
Oh yeah, it was like the second to last thing that came before, or like the very last thing that came before Kingdom Hearts 3 was this like little collection disc, because we had the 1.5 collection, which was 3 things. We had the 2.5 collection, which was also 3 things. Then we had 2.8, which was the only of the games that's not on the collection you have on Steam. It's a separate purchase you'll have to make eventually if you want to play through the whole series. But it has Dream Drop Distance on it. It has a like hour-ish long little movie of like 100 or whatever years ago in the ancient past to show the buildup of the ancient Keyblade War for deep lore shit that answers exactly 0 questions you had about anything. But it is really good advertising for you to look at the mobile game, I guess, that you can't play now, but is a collection of cutscenes you can find online. And the 0.2, like little mini thing, which is a recreation and expansion of a secret ending thing from Birth by Sleep. Yeah, it's a whole thing. We'll get there eventually, buddy. Yeah, when you first started building that up, I thought you weren't going to Mickey Mouse. I thought you were going to the beat drop.
Oh, you're right. So after you close the door to darkness, you switch over to the high budget movie cutscene, like
Yeah,
like
FMV baby.
like when like at the beginning of the game, back to that style. Sora, he saved his friend, and he saved Kairi, and he stopped Ansem, but Riku's still missing. King Mickey is still missing. He's still got stuff to do.
For context, the final world is essentially a collection of remnants of other worlds that were destroyed and lost to the darkness previously. And all those scattered pieces and their inhabitants are going home now that the evil's defeated and the door is closed. So Kyrie's on a patch of sand that seems to be part of Destiny Islands. Though you can see as she drifts off, she's going to wind up back home. But Sora's not on that patch of Destiny Island, and he's got to let her know the job's not done.
He promises he'll be back, and Kyrie knows that he will.
Yeah. And as like they become too far for their hands to touch anymore, you get the non-remix original version of Simple and Clean playing for the final FMV. It's so strong.
That song starting off frame 1 with a beat drop.
Oh, it's good. It's really great. The song's awesome. You even like after that, and we get more orchestral music for the credits. You even get a little like montage of and what are the characters we met along the way doing now? And a lot of them are like just living a happy life. It's nice, but that's a good amount of gushing, I'd say. There is more content of Kingdom Hearts 1 that I'm going to have you experience right now, Pig.
Right now?
Right now. You see, Pig, you did not collect all of the Ansem reports. You're not missing this lore, sir.
Oh my
You're about to experience all of them in order as I read them aloud for you and our listeners.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, there is a total of 13 Ansem reports in Kingdom Hearts 1.
13 is an important number in this series.
Dude, you don't know! Oh, Nomura loves that number so much. I think part of it is just his salt over Versus 13, personally.
What?
Yeah, because Nomura was going to make Versus 13, and then
it became 15.
He kept fucking it up. It became 15, yeah. But that's a separate thing. Anyway, all of the Ansem reports chronicling like a little diary that Ansem kept as he started researching Darkness and the Heartless. So we start with Ansem Report 1. Much of my life has been dedicated to pursuit of knowledge. That knowledge has guarded this world well. Not a soul doubts that. I am blessed with people's smiles and respect. But though I am called a sage, there are things I do not understand. I believe darkness sleeps in every heart, no matter how pure. Given the chance, I'm so good at words, Pig. You don't realize how good at words I am. Given the chance, the smallest drop can spread and swallow the heart. I've witnessed it many times. Darkness. Darkness of the heart. How does it come to affect us so? As ruler of this world, I must find the answers. I must find them before the world is lost to those taken by the darkness. Ansem Report 2. It is my duty to expose what this darkness really is. I shall conduct the following experiments. Extract the darkness from a person's heart. Cultivate darkness in a pure heart. Both suppress and amplify the darkness within. The experiments cause the test subject's heart to collapse, including those of the most stalwart. How fragile our hearts are. My treatment produced no signs of recovery. I confined those who had completely lost their hearts beneath the castle. Sometime later, I went below and was greeted by the strangest sight. Creatures that seemed born of darkness. What are they? Are they truly sentient beings? Could they be the shadows of those who lost their hearts in my experiments? So we're seeing the first documented occurrence of Heartless.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do like that, just little side bit, is that he tried removing darkness from a person's heart. He tried putting it in. He tried suppressing it. He tried amplifying it. And apparently he had multiple test subjects for these things. So this does not seem on the up and up. I'm starting to think this Ansem guy might not be the most pure of hearts himself.
Oh, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, but he put these people with like damaged or collapsed hearts beneath the castle, locks them up, comes back later, and suddenly there's Heartless in there. So like, even with the retcons later on Heartless, you can see why there could be a confusion in universe as to what a Heartless is.
Mm-hmm.
Ansem Report 3. The shadows that crawl beneath the castle, are they the people who lost their hearts, or incarnations of darkness, or something entirely beyond my imagination? All my knowledge has provided no answer. One thing I'm sure of is that they are entirely devoid of emotion. Perhaps further study will unlock the mysteries of the heart. Fortunately, there is no shortage of test samples. They are multiplying underground even as I write this report. They still need a name. Those who lack hearts. I will call them the Heartless. Answer Report 4. The Heartless appear in groups and are multiplying rapidly. I've provided them both living and non-living samples. They've responded only to the living. They seem to multiply after absorbing something from the living creatures. Their prey vanishes without a trace. I believe the Heartless are taking hearts. They are born from those who've lost their hearts and thrive on hearts seized from others. The hearts taken by Heartless become Heartless themselves. Though I lack proof, I am confident in this hypothesis. I must also study their behavioral principles. Though they lack emotions, they do seem to have some intelligence. How to communicate with them. It's just occurred to me. Could they be the darkness in people's hearts? Report 5. To study the heartless behavior, I picked one out for observation. It wiggled its antenna and, as if sensing a target, headed deep into the castle. In the deepest part of the castle, its antenna began vibrating, as if searching for something. Suddenly, a strange door appeared. I'd never known of its existence. It had a large keyhole, but didn't seem to be locked. So I opened the door. What I saw on the other side mystified me. What was that powerful mass of energy? That night, I observed a great meteor shower in the sky. Could it be related to the door that I've opened? 6. A massive core of energy lay beyond the door sought by the Heartless. It may be the ultimate goal of the Heartless, but what is that energy? I've devised a hypothesis based on my observations of the Heartless. The Heartless feed on others' hearts, and they yearn for that energy core. That thing beyond the door must be a heart too, the heart of this world. There is no proof, but, having felt that immense energy, I'm certain that was the heart of the world. The Heartless are trying to take hearts not only from all living creatures, but from the planet itself. But what do they mean to do with the heart of the world? Also, it stands out to me that that's like one of the only times they ever refer to a world as a planet.
Yeah,
That
they're just referred to
yeah,
just vaguely as worlds.
yeah, it's odd because like seem to behave as planets, but they just never use that word.
To me, they felt more like self-contained, like places in which the story of the movie
Yeah,
would play out.
it almost feels like islands in an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Report 7. I am studying material from the meteors that rained down that fateful night. What a find! The material is foreign to our world. It is elastic to the touch, and when two pieces are combined, they bond easily. None of the records even mention such a substance. Was it introduced to this world when I opened the door? I wonder how many other such materials drift through the atmosphere of this tiny world. I wish I could soar off and find out. Could there be uncharted worlds up there? My curiosity never ceases to grow. But I should stop speaking of such unrealistic dreams. For now, there is no way to venture outside this world. My people and I are all but prisoners of this tiny place. Ansem Report 8. There is no doubt that the Heartless are deeply connected to people's hearts. Further study may unravel both their motivations and the mysteries shrouding the heart. As a start, I've built a device that artificially creates Heartless. By recreating the conditions that spawn the Heartless naturally, I should be able to produce them artificially. This device is the culmination of all my research thus far. The machine's test run successfully created a Heartless. This may be a step toward creating a heart from nothing. The artificially and naturally created Heartless showed nearly identical traits, but the two types remain distinct for the purpose of the experiment, so I will mark the ones that are artificially created. Now, this is reflected in enemy design. There are Heartless that have the Heartless emblem, like the insignia, on them, and there's those that don't. So the ones that naturally spawn from darkness or from someone falling to the darkness in their own hearts, those are like just the natural or pure blood Heartless. The insignia Heartless do not come from such natural means.
Oh.
Yeah. See, this kind of stuff is why I wanted to get make sure you get through all these reports.
Yeah, you probably could have learned that Ansem's. You probably could have learned and deciphered that Ansem's the big bad of the game by reading all the reports.
Well, you wouldn't have read that one because that's the one that you get for winning the Hades Cup.
Ah.
Yeah. So you didn't have the chance to do that one yet because I think you got like 10 or 20 fights into that tournament before you got wiped.
I don't even think I went that far.
Yeah, you might not have. Anyway, report 9. Simply astonishing. Today I had a guest from another world. He is a king, and his vessel is built of the material that composed the meteors. He called the pieces gummy blocks. It seems that my opening the door has opened a path to interworld travel. We talked for countless hours, but one story in particular caught my interest. That of a key called the Keyblade. The Keyblade is said to hold phenomenal power. Uh, One legend says its wielder saved the world, while another says that he wrought chaos and ruin upon it. I must know what this Keyblade is. A key opens doors. It must be connected to the door I've opened. Report 10. Just as people have hearts, so do worlds. The same can be said of stars in the night sky, and deep within each world lies a door to its heart. The heartless desire those hearts. Born out of darkness in people's hearts, they seek to return to a greater heart. Yes, that's it. The heartless come from people's hearts, as does the darkness. It is the core of the world's heart. Is the core of the world's heart the world of the heartless? I will pursue the answer there and become all-knowing. My path is set. I shall seek out the wielder of the Keyblade and the princesses. My body is too frail for such a journey, but I must do this. I will cast it off and plunge into the depths of darkness. So, that's why he doesn't have a body when we see him.
Hmm.
Now, these last 3, in the original game, that's it. That's all we get.
Oh.
The following 3 are only in Final Mix.
Ah. Okay. After 13 became a big number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is, I believe, also like a very cool secret boss for Kingdom Hearts 1 that is somewhat plot relevant later. Anyway, report 11. In opening the door that stores a world's hearts, the wall around that world is broken down. We see this as a shooting star. Through this, I've been able to understand the reason why the material known as gummy blocks has the ability to allow travel to other worlds. The cause of a world's wall collapsing is the appearance of the Heartless. But finding a world's door takes time, and robbing a world of its heart is a similar case. If the door has been closed by a key known as the Keyblade, you probably cannot reach that world's heart again. Before the one with the Keyblade appears in this world, I must take measures to do something. Supposing that there is a close relationship between the princesses and the Keyblade, it seems likely that they'll resonate with each other. I have chosen one special girl. I do not know if she possesses a power like that of the princesses, but there is a chance, and this is an experiment. She may lead me to the place where the one holding the key is. I shall send her off to the ocean of other worlds.
That'd be Kyrie.
Yeah, you got it. So,
He sent her to Destiny Island.
yes, apparently the machine he created that sent her to another world was set to send her to the world that a Keyblade wielder would appear on.
Hmm.
Report 12. I have transcended to an existence of only the heart. I should have come back as a heartless, but there is no sign of such a transformation. My body has surely perished. However, I am different from the other heartless, keeping the memories of before, and I have not taken on the form of a heartless. It is clear that there are still many things to be studied. In order to cross over to the dark side, which is not this world, you must go beyond the door of Kingdom Hearts, the place connected to the world's heart. The innermost part connected to the world's heart, the place connecting to the world of darkness. I will record the details in another report. There are still so many unknown worlds. The present world, the world of darkness, the world of light, and the world in between. Where does the true paradise lie, I wonder? And answer report 13. What'd you get for defeating that secret boss, I believe, that I mentioned? When the heart casts off the flesh, where does the body go? Heart and soul are separate, and the spirit remains in the body. But can we assume that the leftover body and soul perish? Certainly, when the heart changes into a heartless, the body disappears. However, that is only this world story. In another world, mightn't they change forms, like the heartless, and exist there? If we take that to be the case, there must be a you other than yourself existing somewhere. An existence of neither of darkness nor of light, an in-between existence. Cast off by the heart, a mere shell, one who begrudges both darkness and the light. This mystery cannot be easily resolved. The relationship between the heart and the flesh is a complex one, but since we exist here, they cannot be termed as existent. Therefore, I shall call them the non-existent ones. Now, with my future knowledge, I can just tell you that's set up for Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
Uh, those last three that were added in Final Mix. Well, no, 11 was mainly just explaining the Kyrie stuff.
Yeah.
But 12 and 13 are mainly set up for characters that appear in Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2.
11, I feel, is pretty big. Is a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, and it is pretty good. Kyrie's being originally from Hollow Bastion is like really well, but semi subtly done in the game because
Yeah.
her heart being in yours the whole time, like giving you little flashes of her existence and giving you memories that aren't your own is really nice. I like it.
You see the library of Hollow Bastion many hours before you get there, and when you pointed out that it was the same location, I was like,
Or in the Tarzan world where you see a picture of a castle, which Sora would have no way of recognizing.
but he feels
He goes,
like
that's familiar because Kyrie used to live in or near that castle. It's really cool. Yeah, I thought you'd enjoy getting that bonus content that you didn't get all of in the game for this podcast.
yeah.
All right. So, we've chatted story, we've chatted things we like, things we don't like, gameplay, this lore stuff. Is there anything else that you feel we need to cover before we wrap up, or is there anything in those previous categories that we didn't quite get all of? You want to go back to real quick?
No. No. I feel satisfied with our discussion here.
All right. So, with all of that being said, all our thoughts out in the open, say that was a pretty strong recommend. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And with that, as we're nearing our wrap up of episode 1, as we established earlier, the premise is we're recommending each other things, Pig, which means it's time for you to give me your recommend. So, dude, what am I checking out next month?
Okay, Para. For next month, I'm gonna recommend to you